I've been using the Wooting 60HE for nearly a year now, and honestly, I can't go back to regular keyboards. This board has completely spoiled me. In fact, I've literally told all of my friends to get one so they can just instantly level up their games. However, as a keyboard enthusiast with way more keyboards than I should own, it's only natural for me to experiment and try to improve the sound and aesthetics of my boards. Wooting nailed it by delivering a high quality product at an affordable price while keeping the layout standard, making it compatible with different cases. After a bit of Googling, I stumbled upon the Tofu 60 Redux case from KBD Fans. I realized I didn't have a red keyboard in my collection, well, burgundy red to be specific, and since I wanted to keep the build looking gamer friendly, it felt like the perfect choice. The case itself was $69 and I couldn't resist adding a brass weight for an extra $25 to give it that premium feel. However, I made a classic mistake. I accidentally ordered the original Tofu 60 non-Redux instead of the Redux version, which was out of stock. But there was a key difference. The Redux case had the USB connection on the far left, which matches with the Wooting PCB layout, and the non-Redux case was right in the middle. So there was just no way around this. Since I didn't want this case gathering dust in my closet, I decided that for my 10,000 subscriber special, give it away to one of you guys. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. To really elevate the typing experience, I picked up 70 Gatoron magnetic orange linear switches. Well, that's what I thought. I only received 35. I also grabbed 2 extra plates, carbon fiber and FR4 at $20 each to experiment with sound and feel. I didn't order any extra keycaps since I still have the GMK 8008 round 2 without a home, and I thought it would pair nicely with this case. You guys can let me know in the comments if my final choice was the good one. After adding shipping and taxes, my total came out to be $214. Without overthinking, I hit the checkout button and totally forgot to mention it to my fiance, but hey, what she doesn't know can't hurt her, right? Just kidding. Love you, babe. Please don't sell my keyboards. Now, all I had to do was wait patiently. Man, that took a while. Let's jump into disassembling the Wooting. I had to look up how to do this, and apparently I could have just removed specific keycaps to reveal the screws, but since I was planning to replace almost everything, I decided to remove all the keycaps. And here we have it. This is how the PCB looks. This is where all the Wooting magic happens. They kept it simple with just some foam. The foam is pretty thick, but as you can see, the rest is just plastic. Nothing too special. The important thing is that the mounting points match with the new case I got. If they don't, I'll be without a keyboard for a while. Once you remove the case, you have 2 options. The simplest one is just to drop the PCB in the new case, add the keycaps, and call it a day. But the fancier option, I would say, is to replace everything except the PCB, and this also involves dealing with additional screws, especially for the stabilizers. So here's the full PCB, and it turns out I was mistaken. The stabilizers are mounted on the plate itself, which is the case here. To remove them, you just press on the ends and they pop right out. Be careful here. I actually stabbed myself with the screwdriver during this step. Now that everything is disassembled, let's reassemble it using the new parts. I found it funny that on the Wooting case, there's a spot labeled "Don't screw it up." Funny enough, this message is probably a good reminder for me during this process. Now, let's first install the brass weight. The case itself is already pretty hefty. I would say about a pound. But with the weight installed, it feels like 2 pounds, giving it a more premium feel. And now we'll just add the bottom foam. At this part of the build, I was already excited to see how everything would turn out. Next, I had to decide which plate to use. I ended up using the carbon fiber one. I felt like I've used this one before in another build and I remember liking it, but I can't remember which build I used. After that, I I added the stabilizers to the plate. I really wish I had taken a picture of the orientation beforehand because this part took me longer than expected. Once that was done, I had to add spacers between the PCB and the plate to secure them together. There were 8 spacers in total, and this step also took some time since I kept trying different screw lengths. My feedback for KBD fans is please label the screws instead of just putting them all in a plastic wrap. After that, I added the foam that goes between the PCB and the plate and screwed everything into place. Before installing all the switches, I tested the sound on the keys with the stabilizers, and they sounded fine to me, so I moved on. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, I only got 35 switches, so I decided to use them all for the stabilizer keys and the left-hand side of the board, while the right-hand side was filled with the standard Wooting ones for now. I wasn't sure if I liked how the GMK 8008 keycaps looked on this setup. Something about it felt off, so I decided to swap them to the standard Wooting keycaps. First, I had to remove the keycaps all over again. Once they were off, time to install the original keycaps. The original keycaps felt a bit cheaper, but I decided to stick with them for now. I am thinking of trying the GMKs again, but I wanted you guys to let me know which look you prefer in the comments. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, let's find out if this upgrade was worth it with a sound test.